Welcome to Marketing Eyes LinkedIn Live. Today we have a very special guest with us, Stephen Jackson. Thank you very much for coming, Stephen.
Thank you, Melissa. Good to see you.
Yeah, lovely to see you. I've learned so much about you looking online. You're very, very famous to the online world. And one of the interesting things I learned about you recently that you really have reached the height of your career in the NFL. Do you want to talk to us a little bit about that?
I did, actually. I was fortunate enough to I was a kid like most kids in America, dreamed of being a professional athlete. And I took it upon myself to even put that plan into place by writing a poem. And my mom actually held on to the poem when I was 10 years old. It's called I Am an NFL Running Back. And before we get to the poem, I'm just impressed that she kept it that long, right?
Wow, yeah.
And for all the parents out there.
I'm impressed that you wrote a poem at 10 years of age.
Yeah, but
That's
even in that poem, I'm stating that I'm an NFL running back. And if you read it, it talks about all the things that I saw as a kid. And it talks about touching the first place trophy, acknowledging that there would be other great athletes that I have to compete against. Yeah. But ultimately, it was my desire. And what did I need to get there to be able to be a professional athlete, which I was able to accomplish.
Wow. I was reading one of the great things that you've achieved is that you are the Rams all-time rushing leader. I mean, that's pretty amazing accomplishment. I mean, there's only a certain number of teams in the NFL, right?
Yeah.
You must feel pretty proud, and your mum must feel exceptionally proud that actually was an accomplishment that you made.
It was, and when I got drafted by the St. Louis Rams at that time, they're now in LA, but they've always been known for stellar runners. And you have guys like Eric Dickerson, you have another famous running back named Marshall Faulk, which are both in the Hall of Fame. And for me to come in that organization, I knew that the bar was set pretty high at that position particularly. Yeah. So to come out at the end of my career to now be number one on that list, it says that, one, not only about the longevity that I had, but the success, while I was there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think of young kids that are starting out in the sporting world and, each of them have a desire to, make a team or, win first in the Olympics or a bunch of different things. And I suppose a lot of that is having a goal. Did you start out at 3 years of age or 5 years of age or 10 years of age with a goal? Was it before you wrote that poem that you really said, I'm going to do this one day?
It did. I always start with basic goals. And my first goal, I remember like it was yesterday, was don't drop the ball. Mm-hmm. Don't fumble. Yeah. Because all the work that you do, and it means nothing if you drop the ball, right? All the yards you run for, the touchdown that could have been, all those things. It starts with making sure that you do the most fundamental thing of your job the best. Yeah. So, I really pride myself not only being the leading rusher in the NFL for the Rams, but at the end of my career, I didn't fumble the ball for the last 4 years of my career.
Wow.
Not one drop, right? So when you do things like that, fundamentally, it just puts everyone in a good position in the first place. Yeah. That you could check that box. Yeah. We do that really well.
Yeah, definitely. I think one of the great things about our discussion that we were having earlier is you had a goal and you're playing for a team and the team's goal is obviously to win, and you have all these steps in which you have to take to do that, like tactics and training and development. Yeah. Do you want to talk us through how many different steps? Is it 100 different steps? What are the touch points?
I think about anything in game planning or planning out any plan is the more detailed you are, more likely you have success in it. And if you don't have the success, you go back and find where you may have mishaps or things like that, right? So I would say it could be as detailed as you want or not, but it really, really, truly starts out with kind of seeing where you want to be, your end goal. Yeah. And then from there, I would say, for example, if you're in the gym and you're lifting weights and you can only bench press 100 pounds, well, at the end of 90 days or the end of 180 days, let's try to make that a 200-pound goal. Yeah. And then in between that, you set your own benchmarks that how will I get to 125 pounds? When do I plan on getting to 150 pounds? And when you make these goals tangible and achievable, it gives you not only confidence in yourself, but you'll keep going. You'll be hungry to achieve that more, the next milestone.
Let me ask you about that too, because it's not just an individual and it's not just your own success. You're really forecasting the success of the team. You're a part of a team, you're all same goals, but you all achieve it in different ways. So how does the team aspect come into achieving your own goals, but also the objectives of the team success?
It's a good question. Team building, you have to get to know each other really well. So I would say much time you spend in the office together, you have to spend some time somewhere outside of the workplace where you get to know each other. Because I believe just as important to speak the same language in the business, you should get to a point of comfortability where you can speak nonverbal language, where you're in a pitch meeting and you know exactly when that point comes up, oh, she plays that really, really well, or Steven has a really good point there, and you can kind of lean to each other non-verbally, and that comes with a relationship and getting to know each other outside of just the business or the job that one wants to do.
Yeah. And how early, towards the end of your career, were you thinking about your next steps? Were you investing in business? I mean, you're a really well-known businessman. Your tech investment portfolio is so impressive. Like, before you became an investor in Robotic Marketer and a director of the company, I remember looking at your list and it's like, wow, this man really knows business and he's very much an astute investor. So, at what stage in your career did you start thinking about my next lot of goals? What's happening next?
I'll be remiss if I didn't say you want to have that financial security. So once I had secured my own financial security, I was more leaning to take more risks. Yeah. And then I started what I knew. I started in real estate. My mom was a realtor. Yeah. My sister's a realtor. So I started there. I became basically a landlord, bought single family homes during the recession. From there, I built my portfolio up to then multi-units, which are apartment complexes. Yeah. And then I had some successful exits there. And how did I find technology from those leaps? Yeah. Well, being a famous person and you're a landlord, you don't want people to take advantage of you, right? Yeah. So I had to look for ways to get the money from the tenants, and how can I hide behind the mask of a helmet or something else, right? So I found that technology, there were areas that I could lean towards to be able to be a rent collector, but still be successful and not take away from my day-to-day job and not be so stressed out and pulled in many different directions. Yeah. And then that way, from that, and when I started looking into ways to collect without being anonymous, it led me to technology. I'm like, well, there's a huge world out there, and you don't just have to be a part of some of the big ones, but there's a lot of ground people on the ground floor that's getting ready to start it in the upstarts.
Yeah, I think that's really good.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this, because obviously your career has kind of taken on different avenues. So you've excelled and reached premium success in the NFL and the football trade, but then also in the business and the real estate market. So as you enter these new markets and set these new goals, where do you either seek mentorship or advice to make sure that your goals are, one, achievable, but also challenging, so that you're continually to achieve success?
Yeah, so once I identify a market that I want to be in, like technology now, I'm very aggressive about this space. I really love it. I think it's life-changing. So one, I want to make sure that if I invest in it, how does it benefit the consumer? Because I always want to give back twofold. And then once I identify that, then I'm looking at the marketing team. So if you relate the marketing team or the team and general management team, it goes back to the coaches. It goes back to general managers, how I marry those two worlds of mine that I come from. And once I believe in that management team, I say, hey, they have something. I believe in that foundation. How can my talents help grow? Yeah. And then once I can bring a talent to the table, then I feel like it's a marriage that we could grow together, and we all have different strengths and strategies that we could use.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, and let me ask you this too. So where does the hunger come from? Obviously, we all have our internal drivers, but where does the hunger come from to continue to learn new industries, new technology, new aspects of really life in general that you continue to achieve and learn more about and set objectives and grow success?
At core, me, I'm a competitor, right? So if we're just going to try to drink a ball of water the fastest, I just want to win.
Yeah.
And I understand that in life we all get older, and father time slows us down. Business allows for me to still compete against other great minds, and I can have a scoreboard of saying what's our sales this year, what this employee was able to accomplish, and look at the growth from day one to year two. Yeah. And you can ride that wave of success with other people in a group and have the same common goal. I almost feel like I'm on the football field again, and that's where that burning desire comes from. It still allows me to feel like I'm competing, but in a different space.
That's awesome.
Great. Well, that's a very short LinkedIn Live today. We'll be doing another one later on today and another one tomorrow with Steven Jackson. We're really fortunate to have you here in Atlanta. Thank you so much for coming. And he'll be sharing insights on not just his career but business and setting goals and having a plan and having a strategy in place and having the right people. And what that actually means. So please join us for a lot more LinkedIn Lives. Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you guys.